Hi, it's Wendy Hernandez with Command the Courtroom, and in this week's video I'm going to talk about a question that I got from one of my viewers on children interviews. So in this particular case, my viewer's judge is about ready to interview the children, and the case is unusual because it's actually the judge who's going to be interviewing the children as opposed to a mental health professional, which is what often happens in Arizona. So before I dive into the answer, I want to remind you about why judges might order children to be interviewed in the first place. As you might think back to the best interest factors that I talk about in so many of these videos, one of the factors that the judge looks at is what are the children's wishes. And when the children are old enough or of sufficient maturity to express themselves, then a judge will have them interviewed. And there's a couple ways that judges can have the children interviewed. And the most common way that I see is judges order the children to be interviewed by a mental health professional who's qualified to talk to children. But there are situations that I've heard of where actually the judge is the one who does the interview, him or herself. And I've heard that's happened in Arizona. I've talked to other attorneys who said that their judges in their cases interviewed the children. I've never personally had a judge interview the children in one of my cases, but I know it's going to happen in the viewer's case who actually asked the question. So his question is by interviewing the children, is the judge putting the children in the position of being witnesses in the case? And it's not really a black or white answer. So the judge is going to consider what the children have to say as evidence. And in some cases, the judges may not actually disclose what the children said during the interviews to either party or either attorney. So it really puts the parties and the attorneys at a disadvantage because they don't know what the children have said. In other cases, the judges don't order the results of the interview to be confidential, so both parents and both attorneys, if there's attorneys involved, know what the kids actually said. But the reason that the judges look to interviewing the children is because they want to make sure the children feel protected, that the children feel safe, that the children don't feel threatened or pressured or just totally terrified to go into a courtroom and testify. So if it were my daughter, if I were going through a custody battle with the father of my daughter, I can tell you that the last thing that I would want is to have her put on the stand and examined by the other party or other attorney and then examined by me and maybe asked questions by a judge. The courtroom is a really intimidating environment, even for adults. I can't imagine what it would feel like for a child. And not only is it intimidating, but it puts the child in the position of feeling like he or she has to choose between parents, or sometimes it puts the child in the position of feeling like they have power over the case or the parents. And it's just really not a healthy situation in my opinion. So although you may not get to question the results of the interview, or you may not be a witness to the circumstances under which the interview happened, my feeling is that having the children feel safe and not antagonized by being in the courtroom environment outweighs your right to cross-examine them. So that's probably why in most cases involving children where they have wishes or they're old enough to express what they want, a judge orders an interview or the judge interviews themselves. So I can't really say that there's a clear answer as to whether the children are being placed in a position of being witnesses or not. All I can tell you is that whatever the outcome of the interview is, the judge is going to consider those results and making a decision about custody and or parenting time. And I want you to remember that it's rare in any case that one factor outweighs all other factors. Usually a judge looks at a bunch of different factors, best interest factors, in making a decision. I really hope that helps. Remember, if you haven't liked Command the Courtroom on Facebook, go there now and like us. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every week I release a video and you will get notified as soon as it's released if you subscribe. If you have any questions, keep the questions coming. That's given me a lot of the material for these videos. But until next week, remember to keep on trucking and command the courtroom.